Hey
How's it
everyone.
going, guys?
Good to see so many of you today. 40 people already. So we usually wait 5 minutes for everybody to connect, but I think we can start kicking it off early today. It's good to see some of the hackers that are building at ETH Online already here. We have Joshua as well, who's a long-standing pioneer in the community. Good to have you. We have Ricochet. We have Sam and Marcus as well. So if you feel comfortable, turn on your video so we can say hi. Otherwise, I'll just kick it off. Anything else, Fran, before we start?
Just wanted to say Joshua has a very cool t-shirt.
Indeed, where did you get it?
Oh, dude, you never believe me. There's this company out there, they're called Superfluid, and honestly, pretty revolutionary company, man. You guys should check them out.
That's good. So normally we would do a round of introductions, but we have gotten to so many participants that is almost unfeasible anymore. So we can take that on the chat if you want to say who you are and just say hi. We will try to answer your questions there as well. Today's agenda is quite packed, so I'll dive straight into it by sharing my screen. So welcome everybody to our community call number 10. We usually run these community calls every month to talk to you directly and to understand what you're building on Superfluid, and also to give you a voice to share with everyone else, what you've built so far and what you're thinking about. So today's agenda is quite full. First and foremost, we have a special guest from MakerDAO, Nadia, who will tell us a bit more about how they decided to start streaming salaries at MakerDAO Growth. And they can also tell us a bit more about their prize of 8,000 DAI that they are planning to give to anyone hacking on ETH Online. Then next up, we have a new Superfluid Subgraph that is basically a way to collect data out of Superfluid in a structured fashion. And Vincent, who is a new shadowy supercoder that recently joined the team, will tell you more about that. Next up, we have a sneak peek at a new developer tool that we've been developing over the last couple of months. The idea here is to make it easier for everyone who is building on Superfluid to have a bit of a UI interface to do basic activity without having to go through the console to actually get it done. And then we will open it up to a brainstorming session for anyone who is building at ETH Online coming up starting tomorrow to actually share with us their ideas or their questions or their acts, and eventually 5 team members. At the same time, if you have any project that you're building on Superfluid, you usually have a session at the end where we can give you a shout out or let you present it to the community, or just to have it open Q&A for everybody. So without further ado, I will ask Nadia to take the lead here and tell us more about MakerDAO Growth decision to start streaming salaries with Superfluid.
Hey Mike, hey everyone. Like I'm surprised. Like this is like a big community. This is super awesome. Well, we decided to start using Superfluid because we, as a core unit of Maker, we receive the budget in DAI, and the DAO relies on the core unit, so the core unit can pay to contributors or service providers or whatever we need to accomplish our mandate with the DAO. So I'm the facilitator of the growth core unit. I'm like my team is in charge of everything related to partnerships and business development and strategy and growth for the Maker protocol. And well, we are always trying out new solutions. And actually, I heard about Superfluid in one of the Hack the Money, like it was, I don't remember when, but I thought, oh wow, this project is amazing, and it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense to pay salaries in streams, and to receive it not at the end of the month or at the end of every 2 weeks, but as you are working. So I thought this is amazing. You know, guys, I always tell you that I love the idea and what you have been doing. So I just wanted to try out the protocol, and it was great, because when I told my team, okay, I want to pay you salaries using Superfluid, they were super exciting, because I mean, they were receiving DAI. They don't care about receiving DAI in other network. Actually, they thought it was like fun receiving DAI in Polygon. And also, when I was talking with Maya and Francesco, they told me about Ricochet, and I told them, and also when you receive your stream, you can also stream to buy Ether or Bitcoin, and they love the idea. So for us, it's amazing. And actually, well, we are planning on showing this tool to other core unit, to the other core units, because I think the other core units will be also super excited about using something like this. So yeah, I don't know if you have any questions for me, but I think it's like an easy concept. I think we all understand why it's super useful, and for me to pay salaries in this way is much easier, and I'm also saving money in gas fees, so it's perfect for me.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nadia. Does anybody have any questions? Just maybe in the chat to keep it quiet and fast. Just giving 20 seconds to everybody to do that. In the meantime, I'm going to ask everybody a question myself, which is, have you ever actually streamed DAI with Superfluid? I'm actually launching a pool now, so you can respond directly there, just to see how many of you have been streaming DAI, which I think it would be quite cool. And in 10 seconds, I'll close the poll. No questions so far in the chat. All right. Is there a payroll management software by Superfluid? I don't think there is, even though I know that someone wants to build that. Maybe Sam can say a couple of words about it.
Yeah, so I'm hacking on something very similar to that. So I'm happy to chat with you in Discord. I can put my Discord username here in the chat, and I'm happy to talk some more about that with you. But I've been having conversations around that kind of use case with a few different teams, and I would be happy to chat.
Awesome. In the meantime, you guys will answer to the poll. So I'm going to share the results right here. So it looks like half and half. So half of you actually did stream DAI, which is pretty awesome. The other half has to try it. So Nadia will be happy if you give it a go. And there is a good, 16% of you that actually are streaming DAI right now, which is quite cool. So I would say the large majority is streaming DAI, which is awesome. Last question.
Actually, I would like to encourage to the ones who are not using DAI on Superfluid, just like send me a message in Telegram, tell me why, and I will try to convince you somehow to use DAI. This is my Telegram handle, and I'm really interested also understanding like the reasons why you prefer, I guess, USDC over DAI. And your feedback is super important for me.
Awesome. There's one last question for you, Nadia, before you go. Is Maker planning to use streams for anything other than salaries at this stage?
Well, it's interesting because actually the Maker as a protocol, we use streams. Well, not Superfluid, but the protocol engineering team, they developed a contract and the budget. You can choose or receiving it like manually or by a stream. Like actually, if you want to check it out, we recently included it in the Maker Burn interface, the protocol expenses, and you can see what the protocol is streaming. I think we just, it's like I don't know what else we could stream. Like for the protocol, everything is related to expenses related to salaries or a bonus that which is part of the salary. So the protocol, the protocol itself, it doesn't have any more expenses. Well, and the core units, well, we pay for salaries, maybe for service providers, but that's just one payment at the time. So I don't know, but I really would like more services that accept the streams as a payment, because in that way we can like stream or streams, and that will be super useful.
Sounds good. Yeah, there is a concept that we have been talking about with other DAOs, which is kind of the treasury DAO to stream the budget on a monthly basis to the sub DAOs or the core units as a way to manage cash flows internally. So that's one option eventually that we can open up. But Nadia, before you actually go, can you tell us more about that prize that Maker decided to open up for ETH Online hackers quickly?
Yes, well, we have a 1,000 DAI prize for like the best projects integrating the Maker protocol. We gave some ideas, like if you are building something related to keepers or something related to the PSM, that will add you extra points. But in general, we are looking like the best solutions that integrate a DAI or the Maker vaults in the back.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Nadia, for coming in and also sharing your kind of Telegram handle with the whole community so they can reach out directly to you. That's pretty awesome. So we are super happy that Maker decided to use our technology we developed over the last year for streaming salaries. And we're looking forward to a more, let's say, a deeper collaboration in any shape and form. So thanks again for joining us today. And yeah, let's move on with the agenda now. But thanks again for everything.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone.
So next up, we have our shadowy supercoder, Vincent, who has recently joined the team. So if you can reveal yourself and tell us more about the subgraph.
My camera is actually not working, but I will share my screen real quick. Okay,
Proper
so
shadowy.
exactly. Got to keep with the theme, right? Oh, you're doxing me. Okay. So I'm just going to go over real quickly some of the new things that were implemented for the subgraph v1. Firstly, the entities are now organized into three main types events, which are just one-to-one mappings of the events that are emitted from the smart contracts, higher order level entities, which will hold data of certain important data such as streams, indexes, subscribers, and tokens, and then aggregate entities, which aggregate data on many of the higher order level entities. So there's going to be mainly two types, and this is the account token snapshot, which is just the data of a user's token statistics, and then also token stats, which are data of the token stats collectively. So I'm just going to go over a few quick examples. We have here first query just to get one flow update event, and you can see get all this data back pretty quickly. This was there previously, so it's not new, but we fixed up some stuff with the data and added more information. So when developing on this, it's going to be pretty powerful to be able to use this stuff. You know, for example, get the flow update history and all these other things. Another cool thing that we couldn't do before was just query for all events. Instead of having to specify which particular event you want, you can actually just query for every single event, and it tells you the type and the transaction hash. And we're planning on using some of this when developing the new version of the protocol SDK as well. Furthermore, there is the streams entities. This is fairly similar to what we had before, but once again, there's a lot more, or it's corrected. Some of the data was actually not super accurate, but now that's all, everything's fixed up now. And let's actually go to the stuff that's actually very interesting. So this is actually the new entities that we created. Like, well, anyways, I'll explain well. Okay, so here you can see an account token snapshot. Basically, this looks at aggregate data of a single account's interaction with one token. So this is this user's address interaction with Matic X, Super Matic X, I guess. You know, you get their balance information, total number of approved subscriptions is related to the IDA, the total net flow rate. So how much they're actually receiving, I guess, and then total number of streams. So this stuff was previously not available. Now, here or in the future, once this is all finalized, you'll be able to access this data, and it'll also be used when with the protocol. And I think this is the coolest part.
Vincent, it looks like your screen is black.
Computer will work. Is it?
Yeah, your
Oh,
screen is black. But we can see the cursor, so you're probably
okay now. Huh?
We can see the cursor, but that's all.
Black. Yeah. Black. Wait, is it still? How about now?
Still black.
Is it okay now or not?
No, it's still black. Well, guys, I hope you appreciate how shadowy.
Yeah, okay, let me.
Probably easier if you stop sharing and start sharing again. That's probably
shadowy
fixing it.
simple protocol.
1 second.
No worries.
Yeah, my laptop like is pretty.
Yeah, so in the
Let me
meantime,
try this
guys,
real quick.
pretty awesome to see that you guys find it very useful in the meantime, looking at the poll. So I'm going to share the results soon, but so far it looks like it's mostly very valuable to all of you.
Does it show up now? No.
No,
Still nothing.
still black.
Oh my god. Okay. I guess I'll just copy the data into the chat. But basically, with this token statistics query, you're going to be able to get for a single token the total number of streams that are active, total number of active indexes, and the total number of indexes, the total subscribers that are subscribed to this token or indexes of that are part of this token, total approved subscribers, total outflow rate, the total units approved, total units pending, and the total units or amount that has been distributed via IDA of this token. So there's going to be a lot more interesting data that you can use to display cool things when hacking in the future. The sky's the limit.
Cool. Well,
That's all. Yeah.
If anybody wants to have a sneak peek at the subgraph codes, feel free to reach out to Vincent. He's on Discord, and we'll be happy to show it to you and show you another black screen. He's very good at that, clearly.
To reassure you, Vincent, it looks like a good 63% of the community that responded to the poll is definitely using the graph in general. So the subgraph you're building is very much needed and appreciated. So there's almost nobody that said that they don't use the subgraph or never used it so far. So I hope that's kind of reassuring you that your work has been valuable and it will be valuable in the future.
Nice. Yeah, it definitely helps.
Cool. Fran, do you want to tell more about our upcoming secret developer tool?
Yes. So basically, what we realized fairly quickly is that Etherscan doesn't understand streaming. So if you open a stream and you go to Etherscan, well, you'll see that there was a transaction and that's it, right? A lot of people were saying today in the Ricochet Discord that basically their balances show up in their wallets, they show up in the Superfluid dashboard, but they don't even show up on Etherscan. So people know they have a balance, but they don't see it. And this is basically because of how Superfluid manipulates balances in a different way to how it's been done so far, right? We don't emit transfer events, basically. As a result of this, we decided to make use of that subgraph. And we've built a tool that hopefully will make your life as a developer a bit easier. It's still in final phases of development, but it's very much meant as an MVP. It's not cute. It's not perfect. It's not polished. It's not supposed to look good. It's supposed to be useful for you as developers building apps to retrieve data. Obviously, the data is all there, right? You can query the blockchain, you can query the subgraph and get the data. But hopefully, this will help you if you're not, a developer to retrieve the data. So this is what it looks like. We call it the Superfluid console. And basically, you can think of it as an explorer. So you input an address here, and it will show you all the Superfluid relevant information. So let's, for example, go to Ricochet. So they have this neat network directory here. And let's see how many people are streaming in the DAI with market. So let's see how many streams are actually using DAI at the moment. I'm not sure, I haven't tested this. Okay, well, there you go. So here we can see that there's currently 50 free incoming streams. It currently shows old streams as well. As you can see, it shows you the people, it shows you the flow rate, it shows you how much they've streamed so far, all the updates to the flow rate that have been made. Basically, you can use this to explore the data similar to an explorer, as I mentioned. And ultimately, all of this data is there, right? It's just not surfaced on Polygon Scan. So it's very important to have this, I think. People like Ricochet, right, who have a live app, were asking us for data. And the only way for us to get it was to make a subgraph query. Well, now you can get that data quickly and in a self-service manner. And because we learned that this was a very useful feature, we built it directly with this address book. So you can save stuff in your address book and you can then go and take it back. And here, for example, I have my account and I can, quickly see all my open streams here, how many funds I have, what my flow rate is. So all of these kinds of information, which are currently a bit hidden, right? So yeah, I'd love to hear if anybody thinks that this is going to be useful to them. I think, all of us use explorers all the time, right? It's such an important tool to have an explorer in an open blockchain. And obviously it's a pity that Polygon Scan, Etherscan don't support us, but ultimately we can't wait. So we decided to build something ourselves. I'd love to hear if anybody has any feedback on this, anything that they think is glaringly missing. If you're wondering, here you can define weekly, secondly, so as to see numbers that are not zero. Because often you see zero, but it's just because it's such a small number that it doesn't show up, right? So we allow users to change that here. But you can also get the raw number, which is ultimately what you might need if you're developing, right? Those pesky 18 decimals that make life very hard. So yeah, looking forward to hear your feedback, and it will be live soon, but it's not live yet. So you still have to wait a bit if you want to use it. But if anybody wants to use this version with all the bugs it comes with, let me know and I might be able to share that.
Hey, Frank, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, Frank, quick question for you. On you showed there was like I think it was 639.12 under weeks on the dashboard. What did that number represent?
Sorry, where was that exactly?
It was for Ricochet Exchange, because I would think it was under weeks. There's more than 639 DAI that's been, so I've streamed more than that in Ricochet Exchange. So I was just trying to figure out what that number was.
Are you sure it's on the same market?
It was DAI ETH, unless I read that wrong. Was that not DAI ETH? That was just
It is, yeah.
amount of,
DAI ETH. It's DAI
Yeah.
ETH. Well, I can see a fairly sizable account streaming 466 per week. I'm just checking it again. Sorry, I stopped sharing my screen. Another one sharing 186.
yeah. So it's just live streams then. It's just live streams.
It's just live streams. Yes, correct.
Okay,
It's just
yeah,
live
got it.
streams. Yeah. It is an older market, I believe, this one. So it's one of the legacy markets in Ricochet. So maybe it's not the most active one, but the data is coming from the subgraph. It should be correct.
Okay, awesome, cool. I appreciate that, man.
Anyway, looking forward to see. Okay, these comments are cool. Okay, everybody likes the idea. Well, then we hit the nail on the head, it sounds like. I'll be happy to share this privately with anyone who wants to give it a go, but it is really a bit buggy at the moment. We're building it in collaboration with the Raid Guild. They've done an amazing job so far, changing it up to make this data make sense. It is very tricky to strike a balance between user friendliness and developer friendliness. And, we tried to be in between there, but still be useful for developers who might want the raw data as much as possible. So yeah, if you have any comments on that, send me a message on Discord.
Awesome. Sounds good. So I think now we can enter into the hackathon world. So as you know, we have ETH Online starting tomorrow that we are very excited about. Maybe Fran, you can say a couple of words about ETH Online in general and then kick off the workshop.
Yeah, I'd love to welcome everyone to ETH Online. That's the first thing. ETH Online is going to be a global celebration of Ethereum. It's the biggest hackathon organized by ETH Global this year. It's going to have $250,000 in prizes. And on Superfluid side, we have $12,000 in prizes and the $8,000 if you use DAI, right, that are provided by MakerDAO Growth. So we're very excited to see what you guys build. We currently have 5 prizes, which are different categories of awesomeness. So the most innovative, the most futuristic, the best financial tool. And basically what we want to see is just what you built, right? So go out there, come up with a great idea, and you might win a prize. We'll be available throughout the whole period. We might have some hangouts if anybody needs technical help. And as you know, we're always in Discord, so we're always there if anybody needs any help. As the guys at Ricochet can attest, we're fairly hands-on. If you have a problem, if you have a bug that needs to be fixed, we're there for you, and we can push through. So yeah, I'd love to hear from people in the call. If anybody is participating, maybe say something in the chat, and then we'll give you the word. It's better if everybody doesn't jump in at the same time. But I see some people I recognize from Discord as being participating in ETH Online. I think Florent Bartoli was saying he's participating. Jordan is participating as well. Jordan, are you looking for teammates at this point?
We're not. We're full now. Yeah, we did HackFS with Superfluid last time, and the guys are really great. They gave us a ton of support, so we really appreciate that. And so we're just gonna keep building on that before look at like different use cases. So really excited.
You know what you guys are gonna build?
At the moment, we're looking to see how we can sort of incentivize contribution and fold in streaming to that. We spoke to Fran. One of the issues is like people committing long term, and we think that streams might be a really nice solution to this because you can do sort of one-off tasks, but in order to sort of keep justifying a stream coming towards you, you have to continually engage. That's something that we're exploring right now, and we're just kind of thinking about the different architecture that might need and how it might all fit together. And then we're also talking to some of the people also doing contributions, and so like Coordinape and some of these guys and just exploring what are those guys doing, and maybe it's something that we can look at building on top of with them, so we fit into the ecosystem. So as yet, we're not 100%. We're just getting the final bits and pieces lined up for ETH Online.
Nice. Well, I'm really personally looking forward to see what you guys build this time as well. It was really like Radapay. For anybody who didn't see it, it was our top winner from HackFS. So super stoked to see you guys follow up with another hackathon and build something else. But yeah, is there anyone else who's building? I guess Sam, would you like to mention quickly what you're building?
Yes. So I'm thinking about building something that's adjacent to the payroll use case that I've been working on, that could help people who are receiving salary streams. So I think that there's, and I've seen people do income share agreement related hacks in the past, just going through some of the previous hacks you guys have had. And I'm thinking about approaching the problem from the point of view of the employee, but figuring out how to get either the employer to send the stream to a separate smart contract, and then in that smart contract have logic where maybe a portion of the stream is sent out to an investor if the investor decides to like actually purchase that income share agreement, and then maybe mint out an NFT and have just the owner of the NFT receive that portion of the stream. So still working through like the actual architecture there. There are some problems with just, you know, getting trust, or not getting trust, getting the employee or the employer to trust your architecture and convincing them to then send the entire stream to a different location, because you have to have logic in that contract to make sure that things are split up properly. So if anyone's thought about that, would love any overall feedback or insight there. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I thought a lot about that, honestly. I would like, there's a ton of people, for example, I follow on Twitter that are just brilliant, right? And if I could invest in them, I would, because I'm pretty sure they're going to land a job, right? It's probably just a matter of not having finished their studies yet or something like that. And for them to, you know, start exploring, having that initial sum of money would probably allow them to maybe, you know, start building on the side or drop out or not get a boring corporate job and instead kind of explore their passion for Web3. So I think investing in people before they get a job is a great financial opportunity. But yeah, from a tech point of view, I think it shouldn't be too hard to do to build it using Superfluid, but there's definitely some critical parts there that you need to figure out. How do you allow investments? Do you allow more than one person to invest? How do you pay back those investors? How long do you pay back those investors? Do you pay them back in a stream? Do you pay them back with a transfer? I think as far as receiving some of the funds and sending 90% to the user, that part is easy. It's more the other part that's a bit trickier and can be built in a few different ways.
For sure.
Sorry, Matt, are you saying something? No, he forgot to mute himself. But yeah, Sam, are you looking for anyone else on your team?
I've got a partner who is a very good Web 2 engineer that I'm taking through this whole process, just trying to build a nice little proof of concept here. So I think we're good for right now, but if anybody has thought about this income share agreement use case, we'd love to chat, connect with some other great builders, and yeah, just get some feedback. So yeah.
Sounds good.
Cool. So I just checked the pool and I want to show the results right now. So it looks like 3 of you are actually hacking on ETH Online, but probably not on Superfluid. While 2 of you are definitely hacking on Superfluid, and 2 of you are hacking on Superfluid plus DAI, which is pretty sweet. And 4 of you don't have a team. So maybe this is your chance to find one, or just shout out the projects that are interesting to you. So yeah, we can keep the brainstorming session up a bit more until you guys have your chance to pitch, and then we can move on to the Q&A. So who's next?
So Shaya was asking, is it possible to change the flow rate in the middle? Yes, you can always change flow rates, but the only person who can change it is whoever sent the initial stream, right? Which means the only way to change a flow rate if you're not the sender is to create a contract in the middle. So as Sam was saying, create a contract that receives the funds from the employer, for example, and then sends the funds to the employee, right? Because that contract is the sender of the final leg of that stream, they are actually able to modify that on the fly. So for example, you could have a situation where somebody comes in and puts some money, and that somehow triggers the stream to change, right? So in order to build that kind of logic, you need an intermediary contract. Flo is asking, how do you make sure the revenues are actually sent to the streaming contracts? You mean in the case of the income sharing agreement? Yeah, Sam, what do you think about that? How do you make sure that the person is actually getting paid through the streaming contracts?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the challenges, right? That's the biggest thing around trust. And I think one of the ways to go about that is to require a stake from the employee, right? So if they had to put up a certain amount of value that could get slashed, or maybe you just take that, like, for example, if the stream were to stop mid ISA, you could then start streaming out of the initial stake value to the lender as a kind of like collateral backstop. But the issue there is that if I'm an employee who needs, or a potential employee who needs this money up front, I might not actually have that value to stake. So that might be for somebody that's already kind of a seasoned developer, just somebody with a little bit of cash to put up front as collateral. So that's one option there. I'm sure there are probably ways to go directly through the employer, or whoever's creating the flow initially, to like create a more trusted mechanism there, but I haven't thought through that a ton yet.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So Elio was asking if you can work on previous projects. So the guidelines from ETH Global are that you can work on previous projects as long as you are very clear in your presentation as to what was built before and what was built now. So you can only be judged on original work. So for example, let's say Ricochet come to the hackathon, which by the way, I think they are coming to the hackathon. They need to build something new. Like they can't just build, they build something cool. They're not going to win for that. They need to build something new at the hackathon. So it's only original work. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Elio. Let's see. Tyler was mentioning, how about a tool for an employee to opt in via vote to self-fund their investment account 401k live? Yeah, I mean, that sounds very interesting. I think the 401k it's an American concept. I'm not super familiar with it, but is that an employee-funded savings vehicle or something like that?
Retirement account.
Retirement.
And usually there's a match from the employer. They'll match it. They'll match your contribution, kind of thing.
Got it. Understood. Yeah, that sounds like a very cool idea, Tyler. Is that something you would like to build yourself? Do you have a team already? No, you just came up with it. Okay. Well, if you're looking for a team, I'm sure there's other people in here. So maybe just drop your Discord handle in the chat. And then if anybody else is interested in exploring that, they can maybe reach out to you. Okay, let's see. So we have Elio was saying we were planning to incentivize fans holding creator tokens on Nifty subs with exclusive NFTs, subscriptions. Creator tokens could be streamed to viewers using Superfluid. Not sure how difficult that would be. Well, sending streams with Superfluid is extremely easy. You can do it using the Superfluid SDK, and it's one line of code. So I think it should be feasible. Creating NFTs should also be fairly easy. What else? Incentivizing fans. Well, incentivizing people is harder, but NFTs are a good way to do that. Tokens are a good way to do that. So yeah, it seems like it's a feasible thing to work on, Elio. But I'm wondering, are you not pursuing DAO Ensure anymore? I really like that project, as I've said a few times.
Yeah, we would like to work on that, but currently it's on hold because of other commitments. But yeah, definitely.
Makes sense.
I mean, DAO Insure, I think you were thinking of it for insurance, but I think it can open up to a lot more. So maybe there is a lot of value there that you can explore also on a, maybe with a new team eventually at ETH Online. And if you need help to put together a team around it, I'm sure we are down for helping you.
Yeah, surely. I'll talk to my teammates. Thanks, Mike, and thanks, Fran.
So other things that have been asked, so Ruhum was asking if the ideas on hack.superfluid.finance are still up to date. Some of them are, some of them are not. So yeah, we should probably clean up that page a bit. There have been quite a few hackathons. If you go to the end of the page, you will see our articles about the previous hacks, and that should give you a bit of an idea of what has already been done. But the truth is, there's always room to improve on things. Even some of the ideas that were explored a year ago, and never went live, is worth building them up again and going live with them, right? So the only application that I can think of that maybe is not worth trying to rebuild is probably a DCA application, because we have Ricochet, which is working very well to invest into Ether and Bitcoin. There are other models you could do, but I would personally suggest to actually collaborate with the Ricochet team. They're very receptive to pull requests and have a list of early things that they would like people to help them with. So if anybody's interested on the investment side, I would talk to Sunny here, who's a part of the Ricochet team.
Yep, Fran, we're definitely, we got a bunch of really cool ideas in the pipeline for innovating the space of real-time investing. So we're trying to, really grow there. Currently, as he said, we're focused on, being able to invest in different crypto assets in real time. So just, basically convert your DAI stream or USD stream into, different assets like wheat, Bitcoin, Matic, etc. But we've also got a bunch of other cool ideas that we'd love to work on. Some of them are already in motion. For instance, being able to dollar cost average or stream into sushi LP positions. Some other novel ideas like streamable ICO launchpads and some other cool stuff like streaming interest-bearing tokens are in the pipeline. So we'd love to get some more manpower on these ideas. So if you're interested to collaborate and help out, we'd be more than open to it.
There is someone, I think is Chen Yu. I totally have said that name wrong for sure, but perhaps employees could be tagged with Pope to be paid using Superfluid. So there is a very cool kind of combination of NFT plus streaming, which works really well. So you can stream to an NFT, and if that NFT changes hands, the stream is redirected. So if you were to say tag employees with an NFT, you could potentially send them a stream, and if you revoke that NFT or if you remove that NFT for the wallet, the stream redirects the new wallet. So that is definitely something you can build. It can be, just normal Pope or NFT. So yeah, it would be cool to see something in that direction for sure. And maybe Sam can also chip in here with a payroll type of tool that would eventually step in using NFTs as well.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
So Ruhum is asking about the licensed agents. Basically, this is something that we will actually be open sourcing very soon, our own implementation of. Axe, who is here in the call, is working on it and will be open sourcing it. So maybe we can invite you to the session when we open source that and you can have a look. There's definitely things you can build around that, but we still haven't kind of fully explained how this works and how it will work in the future. So I'll be happy to have a specific session about that, and I'll make sure I invite you. So Ruhum, if you could put your Discord handle in the chat, then I'll make sure to add you to the list of people I have to I have to get back to about this. I think Trosler, for example, was asking about it. My Shepherd Blue at Ricochet was also asking about this. So I'll make sure to get back to you as well. And yeah, there's definitely things you can build around that. There's a couple of interfaces that are currently very much for developers, but it would be beneficial to have a user interface for as well. So yeah, I'll definitely come back to you about that.
So we don't have a formal program out yet, but we are totally interested in working with beta testers or early developers interested in running this software. So, if you know anyone who could be interested, just let us know on Discord, and we will put together a program where you would have early access to the tool and help us debug it eventually and help us shape it to a point where we can release it in production. The idea is really to have the whole community contributing to running this so that the network is a lot more secure and the protocol is more robust. So, it's not something we can pull off ourselves. We need your help to actually pull it off. So I'm more than welcome to work with you or whom. And Joshua as well.
All right. So somebody was asking, what are some of the ideas we would like to see somebody build on Superfluid? Well, at the moment, there's quite a lot of attention going on salaries, right? So I would think, if I were you, I'd start thinking a bit about salaries, right? So this is a use case that seems to have product market fit, right? And that's the most important thing when you're building a startup, is to find product market fit. So what would you build to make more people adopt the salary use case, right? So for example, there's the streaming investment side, there's the streaming 401k side that Tyler mentioned, but what else could there be? There could be a tool for the business itself to know how much money they're sending, maybe a tool for the receiver to issue invoices if they're a contractor or something like that, and maybe a tool for a specific DAO to make these payments as well to their contributors. So I'd say thinking from the point of view of somebody who's getting paid in streams is a good starting point. As more teams on board, you will immediately get users interested in using this. So it's a one way to come up with ideas. So Bogdan,
just a thought. I think one novel idea that is potentially implementable with Superfluid is the idea of borrowing against your salary. So traditionally, the way it's done is obviously you have to put down collateral and you have to borrow against that. If there was a way to manage streams and create, that kind of trust where this stream is going to remain open, this salary is going to remain here, you could basically borrow against that at a certain amount based off the rate. And then the consequence of not paying back is wage garnishment over the period through which it would compensate the lender. So there's potential there. So
I totally see that. I completely agree, and I think actually I would take that a step further, and I would say, if I'm receiving a salary, right, in streams, right? So let's say I'm getting $2,000 every month in a stream. That means that over the course of the month, I will make $2,000, which means as a lender, you have a certain degree of certainty that there will be $2,000 in that account by the end of the month, right? So you could basically lend me up to $2,000 and I'll be able to repay that by the end of the month, unless I get fired, obviously. But generally speaking, that kind of certainty is there. So if you think about it, if you lend people funds and they somehow are connected to your stream, you can simulate a credit card, right? Where you repay over time, but you maybe have access to those funds slightly earlier than when you actually receive them, right? So that could be a great idea.
So one more thing around salaries that I think is an opportunity for everybody here, especially those hacking at ETH Online. So we are trying to work closer and closer with MakerDAO, as DAOs are kind of the source of most of the treasuries in crypto at the moment, and streaming salaries is kind of a no-brainer for many of them. But also that means that anyone who is building something which allows those who receive streams to do something in DeFi will have immediate adoption by MakerDAO. So as MakerDAO's team members and contributors are receiving streams on Superfluid, if you do build something similar to Ricochet Exchange, it's very likely that they will just use it, as is easier to invest directly from the stream than to withdraw and then deposit somewhere else and do it all manually. So any applications that are kind of automating a DeFi strategy or making it easier for someone receiving a stream to do something with it will probably have immediate adoption by MakerDAO. And we can also facilitate eventually an introduction to their growth team, which is the most open to new applications and new tools. So we know someone who is kind of managing the tools for MakerDAO as well. And we will try to connect everyone building something cool to them. So that I think is a stellar opportunity that I wish I had when I was hacking around at hackathons time ago. Just want to put it out there.
So another thing I would mention, just staying on the lending side, if anybody's interested in building this product, it's a lot of DAOs don't actually have stablecoins, right? If you're a DAO, you generally have other tokens. You have Ether maybe, or you have your own DAO token, right? But you don't necessarily have stablecoins. But generally, stablecoins are kind of better to pay salaries because they're stable over time and people need to pay their bills, right? So one thing I've been hoping for someone to build is a way to borrow against a collateral in a stream so as to pay your employees leveraging the capital, but without actually selling it, right? Which means you can kind of borrow over time as you need the funds rather than selling part of your capital immediately up front, even though maybe market conditions are not ideal, right? By leveraging the funds over time, if those funds go up, you can keep leveraging to pay those salaries. If it goes down, you can always sell and repay that loan. But in the meantime, you manage to give your employees a stable income in stable coins. So that was one idea that I think would be very cool if somebody built. We, as a company, somebody was asking us, yeah, we have stable coins, so it wouldn't be necessarily useful for us. But for example, I know, what was the DAO I was speaking to recently? While Reality Cards, they have most of their treasury in Ether. So they were actually asking me about this because they would love to, pay their salaries in stable coins, but they don't want to sell their Ether, right? Nobody wants to sell their Ether. So how to do that? Well, borrowing against it would be a great way to do it. Yeah, so as Tyler is saying, yeah, the assets of the DAO, like trade finance, but also inventory, right? Yeah, so you can imagine, people staking their NFT collection and borrowing against that, right? I can see that. I can see that happening. I would, it's funny. I was speaking to a CryptoPunk holder, right? And he told me he will, if he puts his NFT up as collateral, he will always sell that. Like the risk of losing your CryptoPunk is not something that anybody wants to run, right? Nobody wants to lose their CryptoPunk. So even if they use it as collateral, that's safer than Ether, because in Ether you can make a monetary calculation, but everybody has kind of emotional attachment to their CryptoPunks.
There is a question by Bogdan. You're asking how interactive can streams be? So can I start it, reconfigure it, and start it again in a matter of sub-seconds? So each stream is a transaction. So I think your limit would be dictated by the network where you're operating. So eventually you can do all these transactions in the same block, but I'm not sure our smart contracts will allow you to do that. Probably yes, but it wouldn't make much sense. But you can start it, edit it, cancel it, in a matter of seconds, for sure. Actually, every block. But it depends on the utility, I think, of doing that. But yeah, it is quite flexible. There is Florent who's asking, stream for subscriptions. Like I pay Netflix in real time, and as soon as I don't need the service, I stop the stream and I don't have access to Netflix. That is the type of economy that we envision when we started building Superfluid. So, Superfluid streams are lower risk than normal transactions, because if you're getting paid in a stream, you know immediately when the payer is stopping to pay you. And if you are, paying with the stream, you can stop as soon as you want the service, and you stop paying and you stop having access to the service. So you basically de-risk the transaction between two parties to the second, which is quite powerful. So, potentially, I think Superfluid could bring subscriptions to Web3. But, it's not something we would probably go after in terms of our own service. So having some partners that build that would be pretty awesome. There were some projects that started doing that, I think at Hack NFT or NFT Hack back in springtime. So they might have been advancing, but it would still be good to see more implementation with different logic of this service. So yeah, if you're up for it, I think it's something that we would really like to see at ETH Online.
So George was asking, any plans for Superfluid to roll out on Arbitrum? Definitely, but no ETA. But definitely a plan. Yes, if you have used Arbitrum, if you have any experience with it, get in touch with it. Get in touch with us. One of the reasons we haven't done it is because we're unable to run a node, and as has been recently shown by the Arbitrum outage, it is pretty important to run a node because their sequencer was offline for 8 hours, right? So we can't afford that. So until we can run a node reliably, we're very unlikely to want to maintain a deployment. But I'm sure the team there is working on this and will be, it will be more reliable in the future. So yeah, if you've used it and you have any insight on that, feel free to let us know and see if we can work together on that. And great, nice to see everybody leaving their discords. If is anybody in the chat looking for a team member, we have a list of people we've been speaking to these days who are looking for teams, we're looking for ideas, or looking for team members. So if we haven't contacted you, let us know, and we will reach out and help you, find whatever you need to make the hackathon a success. And I've said this a few times already, but this is going to be an insane hackathon. There's so much, there's so many prizes, there's so many smart people participating. I think building something at this hackathon could be the first step for you in building an application that actually gets used by a lot of people and helps a lot of people. Personally, for example, I'm super excited that Ricochet went from being a hackathon project to being a live app that I'm using every day, right? Like that's great. That's amazing. And to see the people from MakerDAO come up and say that they are using it as well after starting streaming their salaries just a few days ago is also very, very exciting, right? So people that use Superfluid are looking for you to build apps for them. So you're not building this for yourself, you're building it for a number of people who would use it almost immediately. So keep that in mind.
Right, can I add something?
Yeah,
I think the whole ecosystem is like, the more people that are streaming, it just lifts all boats. The more apps that are in the ecosystem, the more people that are streaming their salaries, more people that are using Ricochet, doing all these things, the more usage it drives, it just lifts all boats, and it becomes like a compounding effect. So it's good to see the adoption.
Totally.
Cool. Do we have any last minute questions? So we took quite a long time for talking about ETH Online. So if you have any other questions, I think now is a good time to ask them. Otherwise, we have gone over time, so we'll probably close the call quite soon.
Thanks everyone for joining. Just one thing to mention was, I think there was a question before about Gnosis Safe. So Matt was asking us about Gnosis Safe. We do use it as a team, and there are quite a few other teams using it. It does occasionally have some bugs, and unfortunately they're much harder to debug because of how Gnosis Safe is built. So for example, if you send a transaction with Gnosis Safe, it will always succeed, even if it fails. which is very confusing sometimes because you see a success, but then actually nothing happened, right? So they're a bit harder to debug, but we're in contact with the Gnosis Safe team and working very closely to figure out those bugs as soon as we get them. But if you can be a bit more precise when you say that the experience is limited, I'd love to kind of know more about your use case and where it might be worth investing some time.
Yeah, for sure. I can share it with you offline, but it's really using Gnosis Safe with some other for UniWells for some other dApps. I just noticed there were certain things that we couldn't do, like with Yearn, we had some issues and things like that. But yeah, I'll definitely let you know offline. I appreciate the elucidate answer there.
Oh, so you were saying that the issues are with other apps?
Yeah. So I've never used Superfluid with Gnosis
okay.
Safe, but I'm apprehensive because I wouldn't want to like set something up where we're receiving these streams. It's like, oh, you can't do it via this Gnosis Safe. You're gonna have to go to like a single wallet, which is fine. We just want to make sure we know if there are any limitations before we like launch one. Does that make sense?
No, no, it definitely works. So there's a number of teams. I mean, MakerDAO, for example, are using a multisig, right? I think most teams are going to be using multisigs to send salary streams. It just makes more sense because you have to store a lot of funds. So in general, it's something we are definitely keen in making sure it will work. We've discussed potentially even building something more native into Gnosis Safe. So it's definitely, if you deploy Gnosis Safe, you can expect more support than using a custom solution. Obviously, there are some technical limitations. So, for example, Gnosis Safe can't make a signature, which means you can't put your email address to get notifications. So that part, for example, won't work if you're using a Gnosis Safe. But we're working around these issues. We definitely want to support the safes as much as possible.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I want to thank all the new joiners we hadn't seen before. Tyler, it was great having you. Jordan, thanks for joining as well. Who else is in here? Florin, I don't think I'd seen you before as well. Thanks for joining. And yeah, really looking forward to seeing everybody in Discord. If anybody has any last minute questions, please let us know now. Otherwise, I think we can probably close the call.
Looks good. Yeah, guys. So remember, for everything that comes to your mind, being it feedback, some critical feedback or ideas, ping us on Discord. We are always there. There's a whole community. We believe in open conversations because many brains have a better outcome than one brain for sure. So yeah, keep the conversation running there, and then eventually on Twitter as well. And we really hope to see you all at ETH Online starting tomorrow. So yeah, Fran, what do you think?
Yeah, starting tomorrow, guys. Looking forward to everybody's participation there. And if you speak with anyone who doesn't know what to build, send them to hack.superfluid.finance. The best ideas are all there. And I think I'll use the input from this call to add a few more so we can keep that up to date. All right. Well, thanks everyone. See you in Discord, and let's build.
Bye-bye, guys. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.